Welcome back, brothers, to the homestead on a very hot and smoky day. I have got some great news. Our water's coming in. We got a whole ditch of irrigating water, and we're going to do that today. I cannot begin to describe to you guys how much I have enjoyed this irrigation system and having this resource. To have green fields with free water, it's just, I didn't fully comprehend it until you get into the real dry season and you look around and everything's dying and burning up and you have these lush green fields. It's incredible. And we got a full ditch today, so I'm ready to irrigate. We're going to try out Jack's ditch for the Jack's head gate for the first time in earnest, and see how it goes. And then we're going to talk a little bit about farming with an asterisk. If you're just joining and wonder what's going on, we irrigate with an ancient irrigation system. It's 100 years old or so. It's flood irrigating the way it used to be done. Our water comes in from there and goes down these series of ditches into head gates, which we stop up and then redirect it, and we flood acres and acres of field. That's why in August everything is lush and green. 4 cuttings our neighbors get, 4 cuttings of grass every year. Incredible. Let's put this head gate in. Jack, Jariah, and myself, mostly those other boys, just finished this up, and this will be our dam that stops it here. I've never put this much water through it, so we'll see how it goes. Look how bad the smoke is today. I think it's worse than it was yesterday. It's starting to make me sound kind of hoarse from all of the pollutants, I guess. Okay, we'll pull this one. And that takes about half the water, but if I want more, I can block it off here and really direct the whole ditch into our new head gate. That is a lot of water. It will not take long for this to fill up. We put that 12-inch and 10-inch culvert there. I don't even know if that's enough. I might have to block some of that off. I don't know if this will handle all of it. Now, the wood that we used for this was the rough cut full dimension 2x4, 2x6 that we cut from the Lucas mill. That it's, I cut it, so it's not super precise. And it leaks a little bit, but that's okay because we pick it up at another gate down below, any extra. But once it gets wet and swells up a little bit, it seems to get pretty tight. To tell you the truth, brothers, I never had any interest in farming. Actually, that would have been about the very bottom of my list, to be honest. I never have liked gardening or any of that, but I've really had a change of heart when it comes to that. I guess maybe just kind of being around it and exposed to it and getting to know farmers and learning from them, I start to get it now. And I gotta say that there's very few people that know less about farming than me. I'm gonna say that right straight up right now. However, I do like to learn and like to try new things, and I'm hoping to maybe even start running some animals and doing hay, or cutting hay, doing bales next year, Lord willing. But here you can see we got a little bit of water coming by there. Until that swells up, that will do that. But it doesn't matter. We got more than enough. And as I said, it's getting redirected down there below, or down below anyway. So far, so good. Both culverts are handling everything. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but this absolutely gives me the fizz. It's hard to describe. That's handling all of it, so that's good to know. So a full ditch, if we run a couple 12-inch culverts, that shouldn't have any problem handling that at all. But we're using both of them for sure. When I first started flooding the field, I ran into a problem in that there were a couple areas that were not getting water. I think maybe they were a little bit high and the grass was turning yellow. You could see 2 or 3 patches across there where we just weren't getting any water. I wasn't sure what to do with it, so I talked to my neighbor, whose grandfather actually did all this irrigation system. He used to own this land, and he's my neighbor now. He told me, well, you gotta cut some rills in there. I said, goodness, what is a rill? I had no idea. A rill is now again, this is how I understand it, is just a little groove cut, and there's rills cut all the way across from west to the east, all the way until it hits the river. And what the water does is, I'll show you here in a minute, maybe you can see there with these freshly cut reels I did, follows it along there and then drops down, and you can irrigate, you know, a couple 100 feet at a time, and then you do another set, and you work your way down. So this area right here 2 weeks ago was it was dead. It was burnt and no water and dry. And so my neighbor loaned me his reel attachment, I guess you call it, and I cut reels across there. And now this is the first time I've used it. It's draining across here a lot better. This is what he loaned me here. There's a sticker on it. It says it's a middle buster. He called it a reeler, but it's just a plow that you go down real shallow, and it kind of cuts that sod and lays it out, and it cuts those V's through there that the water flows. Problem I ran into is that the sod flipped over, and then sometimes it would fall back in the ditch, and I was having all sorts of problems with it. And I think what a guy needs to do is, once you cut the sod, I think you need to get it out of there completely and dispose of it, because my field's all lumpy now in several places, and I made kind of a mess with it. So I gotta cut a couple more here, so we'll do it together, and you guys can kind of watch and see, and maybe give me some pointers, those of you guys who may have experience with this, because I certainly do not. Right here are some of the reels that I cut a couple days ago, and you can see that the water is running down there. I can't get them very close. They're, I don't know, maybe four feet across or so because of the way the tractor is. But the problem I'm running into is this sod right here. So this was the grass that was here, and as that tool goes through here, it flips it over on the side. Sometimes it stays in the ditch and creates a little dam. I'm thinking that I might have to get rid of all this sod, you know, once we cut it. I just don't know for sure. I haven't had a chance to talk to my neighbor. He's not always around when I'm out here. But I'm thinking what I might need to do is to get rid of this stuff. But these seem awfully deep. But I was careful, and that was about as shallow as I could go. But it does seem to be working. I'm just not sure exactly what to do. Now, I got a little island here that we need to deal with, and we'll cut one together right now. Don't hate now, we're learning together. That actually helped a lot. I cut those 3 through there, and now we're flowing into this ditch a lot better. Problem is with it is this sod. I don't know that there's any other way around this other than just to get rid of this. That's gonna be painful, back-breaking work. Had I known how much sod I was gonna have to get rid of, I wouldn't have went so crazy with that reeling machine. But I made my bed here. So I think we're gonna have to come through here and pick all this out of here and actually shovel each one of these clean, because here's what happens. What happens is it rolls back in the ditch, and then it blocks it. You can see right here, this is completely dammed. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to get rid of all of it. I don't know. I guess you just gotta do what you can. I did 3 areas. Fortunately, I didn't do too much, but I did enough. I think we're just gonna have to go through here with the shovel and just shovel those all clean, and someone drive along with the a bucket, and then we can throw that in there and just get rid of it. And then this grass that we have here, my neighbor told me what it was, but I forgot what it was called. He said it reseeds itself, and it absolutely does. There's a couple places I've scraped off to mineral soil, and just in a matter of just a few weeks, it was just green again. So this will all grow back in, I believe, but we got to get these cleaned out. Well, brothers, that's probably about all the time we have today. It's 2 o'clock. Jack and I need to leave here in about 45 minutes. I found a guy down the road that's got a 500-gallon diesel tank for sale with a pump on it. So we're pretty anxious to get that. So we're gonna head down there and hopefully go pick that up. But in closing, I'm gonna leave you with another Henry story, one of my favorites. So my old neighbor Henry, he was a brilliant mechanic, machinist. He could fix and weld and machine anything, an inventor, incredible guy. Never learned to read, but just a brilliant guy. Worked for a logging outfit, and he did about everything, but he primarily was, I think, their heavy equipment mechanic. And a logging mechanics back in the day, a guy like that had to know about a little bit of everything. He needed to be able to fabricate, fix, work on everything, just really a jack of all trades. So he was up on a landing, and he was rebuilding an engine. I think it was on a skidder or a dozer or something. And that's a difficult thing to do, to completely rebuild an engine in the field. I'm talking pistons out, crank bearings, the whole thing. And to exacerbate the problem, you know, it's huge, great big heavy equipment. So he was in a hot summertime, you know, and he's rebuilding this thing, and he was really fastidious, and he was really careful about keeping things clean. And the problem he was having was he was putting the engine back together and putting the pistons in and the rings and all that, and these log truck drivers were driving by, and the dust was just flying, and the dust would just come over and getting in his work, and he was really struggling with it. So he stepped out and talked to the guys and said, hey, can you guys just take it easy through here, just slow down a little bit, and so I don't get all this dirt in my engines. And they said, oh yeah, no problem, except for one guy. There's always one guy, right? Well, this one guy, he didn't care. He just went by and just laughed, you know, full speed and making dust. Henry wasn't having it. So what he did, he pulled his service truck and blocked the road when he knew that guy was coming. Because those guys do turns, you know, you can pretty well tell when they're coming and when they're going. And you can hear them on the radio because they'll announce on the CB, you know, when they're coming up so they don't hit each other head on, right? So he knew he was coming. He blocked the road, and that guy come up there with his log truck and stopped and rolled down his window and was like, what the hell, Hank? You know, Hank had a shovel. And you know, in the summertime on those logging roads, that dust, they call it moon dust, right? It's just thick and it just goes everywhere. Henry had that shovel in his hand, and he was a big, stout, strong guy. He grabbed that shovel, he stood at the bottom of that door, and he starts scooping big old scoops. And this was not like a spade shovel, this was like a straight bladed shovel, like a floor cleaning shovel, so you can get a lot of dirt in there. He said he got about 4 or 5 good old scoops he threw right in that guy's cab before he got his window rolled up. He said that learned him. I got a million stories like that. I'll sprinkle them throughout the videos this year. I don't want to waste them all in one video, but he was quite a guy. He is missed. I used to, well, we'll save that for another time. Thank you for watching. Please keep us in your prayers. May God bless all of you. We pray for you constantly. We'll see you in the next video.